Luka finally had his debut with the Los Angeles Lakers in a game against the Utah Jazz. And I know the Jazz aren't that great of a team this year, but I think the Lakers looked really good in this performance. Luka obviously was a little shaky, a little rusty. He hasn't played since December 25th. I mean, it makes sense that he would come out not as ready to go in this game. But I was just looking at this performance and the team, and they won by like 20 points today, but they were dominating at every point in this game. LeBron had a good game. Austin Reeves has been on a tear. Austin Reeves has been playing out of his mind recently. But I looked at it and I think this is going to work. I think they're getting to the finals. I think he's going to win a lot of titles there. I do. And the way that I've looked at it for at least the present and this year, next year, when he's with LeBron, I've looked back to it. LeBron has made it work with great players every time. Dwayne Wade, that wasn't a great fit. He made it work. He made it work with the Heat. They were a small lineup, and they went to the finals 4 years in a row, won 2 titles. He made it work with Kyrie Irving. He made it work with Kevin Love. He made it work with Anthony Davis, and he's going to make it work with Luka Doncic. He will. And this team has a lot of upside at this point. They need to go get that center. I think that Mark Williams trade being pushed back was definitely a big killer for them. But just looking at the West, I think the only team that I would be scared of if I were them would be OKC and Denver. And as I've continued to say, we saw what Luka did to OKC last year. And you have to think that the Lakers are going to go out and get a center of some sort. I don't know who it's going to be, but you have to think that they're going to go out and get some sort of center from the buyout market. If you look at the buyout market, when somebody buys out, there's not going to be a more desired team than the Los Angeles Lakers. And just going back to that game, you saw flashes at that moment. You saw flashes in that game of how good this is going to be. This is a team, they might score like 140 points a night. They really might. And people keep knocking on their defense isn't that bad. I continue to say Vanderbilt is one of the best wing defenders in the NBA. I really do believe that. He's a really tenacious defensive player. They need, as I said, they need the size, but they scored 132 points and Luka only scored 14. They're going to be just fine. I expect him to ramp up in a few games. It takes a few games to gel, but if this was their gel it together game, then that's a pretty good performance for that. So it was really interesting to watch the Luka Doncic debut. Obviously, a lot more basketball to play this year. As the NFL season ends, we shift in to NBA full go, and I'm excited to watch this Lakers team. I really think they can win the West. I think Boston might have just too much depth for them to compete with them. I still think it'd be a good final series if they got there, and that's a story for a later date. But we'll see. We'll see what this team's able to do. But I saw some good things from the Luka Doncic debut, and I think as the week goes, as the games go, give it about 4, maybe 5 more games, and I think he'll be back to his 28 points a game range. But for a feel-out game, this was a pretty good performance.